Hey Tubesters, so today I wanted to kind of do an altar update with y'all because I finished my Sabbath in a bowl. Well, mostly finished it. It needs a few more things. But now that I have that pretty much done, some things have changed on the altar space, and one of them being I finished my little shrine up there to my matron and patron, so I wanted to share it with you. You're technically on the tripod, but I'm gonna be holding it, just because it's gonna be easier to share this big ass altar shrine space with y'all, other than me just like kind of like sitting it down and trying to like swivel it around and making y'all dizzy. So hopefully y'all don't get dizzy, but everything on here has some type of purpose. I'll admit some of it's just for beautification, but a lot of it is used for like spiritual or magical purposes. Now I'm gonna grab my tea. I have the I don't know if you can read. Yeah, you can't read it all, but it's the echinacea one. Some people are getting sick in my, well, not in my barracks, but in my schoolhouse, and so I don't want to get sick, so I'm making sure to boost up my immunity. Sippy sippy. So not much has changed, but there has been some changes. So of course we have the mug with the little slate coaster plate. Oh, okay. We have my wand, which sits on this slate, this darker slate plate, both of which have been collected at the ocean. I'd say probably about 90 to 95% of this has come from the beach. Yes, so this functions as a theme for casting the circle, as well as a wand for invocation and directing chi and all that good stuff. I'll admit I haven't used it too much. I just kind of been holding it every now and then, connecting with it, just because of just working on so many things right now. We got my pendulum, the little olive snail shell with the Poseidon's sandbar offertory salt, which is also in my water representation. Let's turn on the lights. There we go. This is obviously to represent the element of water, and this is kind of to be an offering to the water spirits. We also have the earth representation, which used to be a piece of driftwood, but then I found this beautiful rock with this cluster of goodness growing on top of it. And I did switch out the feather, as I mentioned before. It's still the one that was switched out the second time, I think is the best way to word it. And then we have my original fire representation, this like burnt wood that was tumbled in water or something, because it's really smooth, even though it looks really rough. It's super duper cool. And I don't think I've had the chance to share it with y'all yet, but this beauty is my vintage white rabbit. It's ceramic, and it's just utterly beautiful. This kind of, I've had a white rabbit on my Ostara Altar before, back when I like first started. I don't even think I was doing YouTube back then. Well, not when I first started, but when I like first started getting serious, I put my one of my stuffies was a white rabbit, and I got that for Easter one year, and I put that on my altar, and it was so out of place because it was like, this probably would have been much better on that altar because it was just an end table that I was using as an altar, and it was only probably about like 18 inches to 2 feet, maybe, if that. And so this would have been a much better size for that, but I didn't have this at the time. I had the, oh gosh, how big was it? I don't even know. The rabbit was probably about a foot tall, honestly, and probably about 6 to 8 inches wide. It was a decent sized rabbit, honestly. Probably about the size of like average teddy bears. So yeah, this sits on here as kind of like my part of the Ostara representation, as well as the Sabbath bowl. So I won't share too much because I did make a video on this. I'm thinking about not actually adding those other flowers. I don't know. I think think it would look nice if those yellow flowers in it. Maybe I'll just add one of the, not one yellow flower, but instead of both types, I'll just add one type of the yellow flowers. And maybe not the purple ones. The little, I don't know, they have this like lilac purple color. Yeah, I'll just add the yellow ones. Okay. Anyway, let's see what else. So, okay, y'all remember my worry shell. And this, I've kind of come to realize that this represents, so y'all know that bees represent community. They tend to also be used in like coven, like being the symbol of a coven because of it having the female as the head, and then that strong hive working together. I'm gonna drink some more tea. But when it comes to the wasp, they're much stronger, at least in my opinion. They tend to have a little more of a feisty side, and I just kind of I'm using this as for a sense of community, but like a military community. So kind of to like help me feel like I belong in the military, because sometimes I do struggle because my soul is very different from most of the people in the military, especially from the males in the military. So I'm kind of gonna be using this as like either a focal point for meditation, with maybe working with wasp spirit to kind of help me feel like I belong here. And I'm not saying like, oh, I'm gonna quit or anything like that. It's not like that. It's just sometimes I find it difficult to fit in. And I don't know, maybe I'll save that for a canned confession and I'll share it with y'all. But yeah, that's kind of what this has recently been appointed as. We have this thing of beauty. This is just a piece of bark. Well, it's not just a piece of bark, but it's just a piece of bark, if you know what I mean. And it's got some of this, like, I don't want to say mollusk growth. I know that those are barnacles, and I don't actually know. They might be barnacles, like a different type of barnacles or whatever. But yeah, this is kind of just, I don't know if it's representing anything right now. Right now, it just felt right to be there. And then my tripod sits behind this mug, and these are my pens and stuff, what I used to use to hold y'all on. My sleepy time tea mug, and then the crystal I sleep with, which I've been forgetting to put under my pillow. Sometimes I haven't even been sleeping on my pillow. It's been one of those times. It's really, this is kind of just on here for beauty, but it's also here to kind of remind me of Big Papa. I think some of y'all might remember Big Papa in either previously videos or on my previous channel. Oh, totally skipped over these two things. So this is the holy shell, kind of like holy stones or whatever. So you can see the water spirits. And then this is a sponge board shell. This I'm using as a filter to filter out any of the negative vibrations that I or others send to me or my altar space. And then we have this beautiful horseshoe crab shell. And I just put some little symbols on there for various reasons. I feel like I've told you what they were, so I'm not going to go through it again. Then we have my octopus looking shell to kind of represent octopus spirit that's with me during this time. My little sea witches, oh gosh, what did I call it? Oh, money purse or abundance purse. I can't remember right now what I called it. It's got a little fish hook on it to kind of hook in finances and to kind of make them last a little longer. And I got this little bind rune on here, which is really adorable. I don't know how well y'all can see it. Let's bring y'all a little closer. There you go. You can see it so much better now. And it's just on this other piece of driftwood. My little shell of glass, oh, sea glass, excuse me. My Tibetan singing bowl. Oh wait, I'm doing it the wrong way. I won't let it get too loud this time, but I love that. I use that to cleanse the room sometimes, or sometimes just to raise vibrations. You know, you can use that for casting a circle as well. You can use a lot of things to cast a circle. Maybe I'll share that in a video about different ways of casting a circle. But anyway, I have this little card. Whoops. Knocked over my card. So I have this little card here, just because it's really, I didn't realize it was this flashy. Wow. I liked the flowers. I thought it was great for spring, but also I like the message of it saying I love you, and I kind of feel like it's talking to myself. And then there's this space where I could probably, if I want to, like write maybe mantras or any type of affirmations or a note to myself or whatever. And then it says, every day of my life, every beat of my heart, every part of my world is filled with love because of you. And yes, this is technically a card that you would give to someone else, but it's good to give yourself love notes and stuff like that. Remind yourself to love yourself every day. So moving on to this side of the altar. Oh, and this technically is the desk, so that's why I have all this stuff on here. And actually that can come off because we're not in March anymore. A lot of these are just cards, and then that's my pen pal letter. Yeah, so I should pick up a new calendar. Excuse me. So this is just on here for beauty, honestly. It might have a simplicity element that I'll work with it, excuse me, later on, but right now it's just for beauty. This used to be on this rock, but I took, oh gosh me, excuse me, the rock that the shell was sitting on to use for my, there we go, excuse me, I keep hiccuping, for the shrine up there. So, and I actually kind of like it sitting directly on the altar better than on the rock. And I feel that this stands out more, and it looks really cool because we have almost this Taji to yin and yang concept going on here, and it's really, really cool. And then we have this sacred spiral being exposed, so I'm just really loving this right now. We have my protection, so we have like filtration on this side, and then we have protection on this side, and that wasn't necessarily deliberate, but it did work out that way. And then these candles are just there. I don't really think they're doing anything because I can't light candles in the barracks, but this is another piece of just beauty. I think this is algae, and then this little stone with whatever. Again, these things, I don't really know what they are. This is a stone from boot camp. I want to say, no, the smaller one came from the chapel. I can't remember where this one came from, honestly. I want to say I got this probably when I was in THU. And then we have this really cool shell that I found the last time I was at the beach. I don't think this was the time when I did the reading. I think it was before that. But it's so hard to find shells that are still, you know, intact. And so I collected that, and I don't know exactly what I plan to put in it. And I hope that it travels well, because there has been a time or two where I've found a shell that was, you know, still connected, but then it didn't travel well. So that was very upsetting. Anyway, we have this drift root piece that has barnacles and is holding my rosary. Y'all remember that box. This is for Ron, who is my, basically, more of a, like a spirit death magic type of deity that I'm working with. So I haven't really done much with him yet, just because of life right now. But as soon as I got this in the parcel from, like, some love mail, that's not really what they call it. I can't remember what they call it in the group. So that's just what I'm calling it until I can remember. But anyway, when I got this, he didn't actually immediately snatch it, but he did take it. So then we have my Kuan Yin heart healing section, and that's a more recent piece that I added to it, and I honestly really, really love it. I feel that it gives good support to the whole what am I trying, the ambiance, I guess. I'm not really sure. I feel like it makes the deity statue stand out more. And then we have the healing potion in front with the rhodochrosite. And it's all sitting on a brown agate slab. Y'all remember my Sea Witch's Hag pendant? And then I have the faux, but they're not really faux, but they are faux military tags. They're faux because they weren't really made by the military, and because they don't have my social security number on them. So, and I have 2 different names on them, which is a different topic for a different day. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to say I don't think it's gonna be in the near future. But anyway, moving on. So up here we have just some more stuff. I got another piece of slate. I've been finding lots of slate lately. So y'all remember that this used to have my the witchcraft potion on it, but since I use it to connect with my matron patron, and that's what the shrine's for, it's moved over there. Got my tiger bomb for when we do some extra hardcore PT and I'm a little sore. This is for my anxiety, and then this is, oh gosh, I think he calls it drops of sticks, or I want to say it's sticks, I can't remember. But it's basically like a death potion, honestly. And then we have this, what I thought was coral, now I know it's a piece of sponge board shell. So that just sits there. And these are kind of just like pretty things, honestly. And my lotion, I got some essential oils behind the honey, my little tea space, another pine crone, wow, okay. Another pine cone, and I had it sitting up straight, but actually I like the tilt so much better. This I'm actually going to give to someone so they can make it into a mobile. I don't think y'all have seen this yet. So I got this, whoa, about to drop the phone. So I got this, I don't know if gosh, I can't remember what I shared it with you. I don't think I've shared it on YouTube, but I think on the gram I shared this red, it's not really a sandbar, but it's I don't know if it's clay or soil or what, but it's so cool. I'm gonna see if I've shared it on the gram, and I'll try and, if I haven't, then I'll add it on there, and you'll know what I'm talking about. But I found this around there, and I plan to use this like for like 3-card spreads for like my tarot reading and all that. So that kind of just helps keep my books straight. And then I got my herbal notebook, dream dictionary, body language dictionary, the book I took a break on. I've lost my sea magic book, guys. I don't know what happened to it, but it's gone. And I'm so upset because I took notes in there. I fucking underlined shit. And I only got to read up to chapter 1 and then it disappeared. And I'm just so upset. But moving on, we have the 5 love languages, which I'm probably going to start reading that soon. I still haven't gotten to this book yet. Tarot for Grown-Ups by Amethyst Rain. I've peeked through it. It's kind of, I like it. I love the humor that's in it. I don't know why I took a break on this book, but I did. It's actually pretty good. I have the 4 agreements, and I have not started my Alice Hoffman. Oh, that's right. I'm really upset about losing that Sea Magic book. It had this really unique, fluffy gray feather that I was using as a bookmark, and now it's gone, and I'm just so upset about it. I will get to my practical magic, I promise. I just feel like I'm all over the place. I'm just like making y'all probably go crazy and just like, stay on topic, Aren. I'm just like, okay, my gosh, I think I just lost my voice. So my Sacred Sleep, I think I did actually start this one, but I got 2 copies of the same book basically, and I started the other copy, and then I looked through this because this one came second, and then I realized, oh, this is the same thing. So I got Palmistry, which I need to finish working on. My cards, playing cards, Oracle, and Tarot. And then y'all know the crystals. So, ta-da! This is, and I realized that I still had my March page up when I did the Instagram live yesterday on this, because I finished this all yesterday. And so let's do a little, ooh, I'm about to trip on my bag. So this is what the whole thing looks like. And I don't know if I'm gonna keep these up there or if I'm gonna change them out for the sabbats. I think I'm going to keep them up there permanently, unless I'm able to you know, like get to a place where I can use candles or whatever. Even then, I think I might keep it up permanently because I'm just loving it so much. And this is all fake flowers, and there's in these candle holders, there's floral foam, very small pieces. I bought way too much. I bought way too many flowers and floral foam. So like I said on my Instagram live, if any of y'all want some flowers and floral foam, let me know. Because I have a whole bundle of these African violets that are untouched. I have 2 bundles of the peonies untouched, and one that I only cut 1 flower from, but then I took a flower from the previous bundle that I cut up, so it technically is a complete bundle. But yeah, so it's just like, let me know if y'all want it and I'll send it to y'all. I'm already sending some packages to people before I leave anyway, so, or maybe shortly after I leave, depending on how quickly I have to leave. So that's kind of up here, and these, like I said, are artificial flowers, and I'm just loving how real the lavender looks, though. It's got like this like dusty thing to it. It's just amazing. So basically, I'm using these artificial flowers I'm working with them in accordance to like the Victorian era of the floral language, the language of flowers. And I'm using those as like the messages that these flowers will be like a psychological trigger for an intention. So almost like they're like intention bouquets, I think is what I'll call them. And so what you do is that you you of course learn about the language of the flowers and like what they mean and what they're conveying in accordance to what the flower itself says, and then the color of that flower specifically says. And I don't fully remember everything that I have because it's a lot, especially when we get to the peony, but I can tell you the gist of it. So the violets are talking about rising above challenges. They also, since they're purple, they touch upon that that dignity and oh gosh, now I'm mixing up the lavender with the violet. But there's a few that I say, and it's like a rising above challenges, dignity, and not divinity. What's that other word? I can't remember what it is right now. Like I said, I'll make a comment, and I'll pin it to the top, and it'll be like what each flower is saying. Lavender talks about devotion. Lavender is connected to my matron and my patron, so I really wanted that on here. African violets in particular, which are these, they're connected to my zodiac sign, but the sun sign, Capricorn. So I really like this. I like how it like integrates everything together, because Saturn's also incorporated to my sun sign. It's the ruling planet. And that's, well, hold up a minute, what's that white stuff? There we go. And so I just kind of feel like it touches upon multiple things. You know, my deities are connected to Saturn. They have this chthonic vibration about them. But yeah, so this is for devotion. So kind of like to, I guess, represent my devotion to them as being my matron and patron. But also like a devotion, like getting back into spiritual practice. So every time I see this, I want it to like be a psychological trigger to remind me to have some type of daily practice. And my daily practice with my matron and patron, on its simplest form, is just anointing this as like a cologne, and it kind of like helps. This is enchanted to be used as like a psychic protection and spiritual enhancement type of potion. It's also got snowflake obsidian, garnet, and I think it's either light smoky quartz or light amethyst. I can't tell while it's in there. But it's kind of funny because it's supposed to be smoky quartz. Yeah, smoky quartz, amethyst, and garnet. So I don't know if she was like out of smoky quartz or amethyst and decided to put like a different one in there. I'm going to say, since there's snowflake obsidian, which is of the darker side, that pale stone is probably a pale amethyst, but I'm not sure. Anyway, moving back up here. For the peonies, we have, oh, I forgot to say that this is also about like modesty and bringing a sense of peace. Now, peonies are really awesome. They're called the flower of the people. There's a few names, so it's like the plant of the people, the flower of the people, and there's one more. Oops, sorry guys. I can't fully remember all of them, but basically these are used for communication in general. So if like you're struggling with communication, you can kind of use it to communicate a message. It's that type of flower that you can give in relationships where it's like platonic but unlimited and unconditional love. You know, intuitively while I was doing the research, I got this hit of not a hit, but like this knowing of this flower could be used to kind of like diversity coming together in harmony. And so I really like that message to be conveyed in here as well. You know, being in the military, you do encounter a lot of religious differences, ideological, there we go, ideological differences, political differences, different sexual orientations, and sexual expressions, you know, via gender, and of course there's the physiological sexual identity, which is your sex. And so it's really good to kind of like help bring that peace is another word that they bring, and friendship. And like I said, there's more, but I'll put that in the comments so that way you can see it and kind of get the whole intention of what I'm using them for specifically. And I can't remember exactly what the pink is saying, because like I said, I'm just getting into this, but I'll write it down and share it with y'all. So we have Matron Morana's side and Patron Velus's side, and then we have the potion that I use with them, and this is just empty right now other than the incense stick. They make it smell good. But for here we have a poison ivy leaf that I found. This is a wax seal from my pen pal letter. This bone came from the beach, and it's like hollowed out from here up until this side. Like there's this big hollow hole in it. This is aragonite. I actually said it wrong in the Instagram live. I think I said argonite, but this is aragonite. And she decides she wants me to work, or have that crystal, what am I trying to say? Work with her through this crystal with her warrior aspect, which I recently discovered, not necessarily on my own, but through a friend. She kind of visited a friend at one point and kind of talked to her about some messages that I wasn't clearly receiving. And so we kind of have this like blood of life flowing through the bone, and it kind of being like this warrior-esque aspect, but more of like a primal warrior, not necessarily. It's very complicated to explain. I can't figure it out right now, how to put it into words. But we have the Helheim dust in here as an offering to her, and then we have the the Hangman's Crow offertory salt for Velus, because it has bloodstone and cedar. It also has some wasp in it, so I'm guessing that he has a more feisty warrior side too that I'm not aware of. And he wanted a piece of slate. He was like, it's kind of funny honestly, because when I put this on here and there was this like, it was all complete, and then his was like, well, there's this empty space here, why can't I have something? And I was like, because it's really hard to connect with you with this beach, honestly. I'll admit, it is hard to connect with my patron, and even to a certain extent my matron right now, and part of that's because I don't have my normal setup, and so it's like I'm having to like almost start over in this practice, with like finding new tools, finding the time to practice, and figuring out how to do profound, effective practices and getting those profound, effective results with less time than I used to have, and almost having, and not, not having my notes or my original books with me that I could use as reference if I happen to like not remember something. I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's just it's a lot, but it's kind of fun at the same time. So this was the stone that I was talking about that originally had the shell on it, and he wanted this on there because of the angle of the stone, but also because of it, because of the color. He has chthonic. He's an underworld deity. He's like a underworld deity, but also like a horned god. So he has this like Hearn Cernunnos vibe mixed with like Hades and Pluto, but also mixing in like Apollo. Those are kind of like the three things that you could say are really make up his persona, I guess. And then, oh gosh, I was about to say Hermione. Oh, I forgot to say he has a Hermes quality too. So he's like, did I say Hermes? I can't remember. So he's like Hermes and Apollo, Hades and Cernunnos all mixed together in one. But he's not, he's more of a bull type of horned god rather than a deer horned god. So there is that difference. Then Morana has this Ceres, Demeter type of agricultural aspect, but she also has like a brigid type of spring, like that late winter, early spring type of deity. Not so much the fiery side that Brigid has, but that spring deity. But she also has the Hecate type of persona, and she has a little bit of a more I'm trying to remember, I think it's Morgana, or Morgu. I'm not too familiar with the names. I feel like there's more than one, so if I'm saying it wrong, do forgive me. I don't work with that deity. But that kind of gives you an idea of what her personality and persona is like. A lot of people don't know of my matron and patron because they're from the Slavic pantheon, and a lot of it's just like she's a witchcraft winter goddess and she's evil, and that's why they destroy her during their spring rite of drowning Morana, which is very morbid. But it's morbid to us because we're soft Americans, and I'm not going to go into that right now. But the Slavic culture is very harsh, and it has always been harsh because of, their geographic location and the weather, and just like it building up their tough personality and their toughness that they need to be. And so, plus the Christianization movement of demonizing Morana. Like there's literally like they say that one of her aspects is a like nightmare demon. Which to a certain extent is true, but it's not true. It's like a misnomer and everything, and it's a whole thing. Anyway, point of the matter is, I don't even know how we went from talking about the stone to that, but anyway, so he wanted this because of that like blood for life type of thing, and so it's like being replicated in both, because they're both chthonic deities. Then we have the, oh gosh, again, I was about to say desert jasper, Dalmatian jasper. He decided to take both of them. The good thing is my matron and patron, even if they do take something, they still allow me to use it to work with it, whether it be for spell work or for working with me, or for me working with them, rather. Yeah, and I already told you about the slate. I'm not exactly sure why he wants the slate. I think it kind of honors his watery side, which I'll admit I haven't been honoring too much. Tisk tisk lobster bisque on me. But yeah, that's, I think, pretty much it. And I just love how it came out. it came out so much better than I thought it would. I mean, I knew it was going to be perfect and it was going to be what I needed, but I had no idea. Hi! I had no idea that it was going to look like this. This is just remarkable. And this was definitely a good investment piece because you can use this for anything. You can use this as a shrine for your matron and patron. You can use it as a divination altar. You can use it as, you know, like an office altar or something like that, or an ancestor altar. There's just so much that you can use this for. You can use it as like a meditative space where you do affirmations or mantras when you look at yourself in the mirror, and you say these affirmations or whatever. And you can use it for glamour magic. Like, it's just, you can do so much with it. You can use it as like a money altar, especially with the mirror, for amplification or protection. I mean, it's just, it can be used for so much, honestly. And it can be hung up. I think it can be hung up. Can it be hung up? I'm almost positive. Oh. I was almost positive that it had, whoops. That it had, what am I trying to say? Little wall hanging pieces. But, you know, with this being wood, you could add that to it. Oh, that's another thing. This is made of walnut wood. And technically, walnut wood's more connected, or walnut is connected more to my matron than my patron. But, I don't know. I've always loved the darker wood of walnut wood. And I think I talked to you about the symbolism of the top, which you can't see so much now that the flowers are in it. But, oh gosh, we're over half an hour. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That's the whole altar tour. And I hope you liked it. I hope it inspired you to make an altar space of your own. This is just a desk that was already in here, and I've decided to make it into an altar space. I didn't talk to you about Mananon stuff. I didn't. I knew I was forgetting something. So Mananon decided to pop up in my life as my sea deity. So as I'm doing like this sea magic stuff, which I can't believe I lost the book. That was so upsetting. But anyway, so whenever he decided to take this crystal, but I can still technically use it. He just kind of wants it as, I don't actually know why he wants it, honestly. It's not like a communicative piece. I think he wants it to be attributed to him, so that way when I'm doing like communication work, or in like a, not necessarily communication work in the sense of like talking, but in the sense of like expression, which can be talking, but like that throat chakra healing expression of self, true self, living your truth, etc., etc. So that's kind of what he wants that to be. And then we have this little pictorial sigil. Can y'all see it? I hope you can see it. And this is on a piece of sea glass. And this is kind of more for like when I'm going to visit him in the astral world. And so that's what this is. So this is like a communicative piece, but for like visitation and traveling to see him. Whereas this is like a meditative type of communicative piece, where it's like I can hear messages from him, or talk to him. So yes, I think that's it. All right. So thank y'all for watching, and as always, abundant and eternal blessings.